Hello, it's Eva again. I wake up ambitious people like you and dare them to be great. And today we're diving into a behavior that's so common among ambitious individuals. It's a behavior that's likely fueled your success, but now, today, it's probably holding you back. So it's crucial to address this behavior before it really becomes very annoying by those around you and by yourself as well. So what are we talking about? Which behavior are we going to tackle today? It is taking too much responsibility. Yes, you recognize it, taking too much responsibility. I used to be guilty as charged as well, so I know a lot about it. And it's also because there's so many people in my coaching practice that do this. So today we're gonna look at it because ambitious people like you really excel at taking responsibility, but it often becomes too much. So let's see where that line is between responsible action and really overstepping your own, but also other people's boundary. So what we'll explore: one, how do you recognize that you're taking on too much responsibility? Secondly, what are the consequences of this, not only on you, but also on everyone around you? And finally, some practical tips to really reclaim your focus on what you should be doing and empower others to do their own job. Good? And so before we dive into it, I want to start with an example. And I want to start with the story of Jack, because Jack is the typical example of someone that's taking too much responsibility and that was able to turn that around. Jack is a renowned architect and he's really known for his amazing designs, but also his meticulous work. You know, when he enters a room, he will instantly see everything that's not right yet. He will pull out the smallest mistakes of things that could have been done even better. And so his eye for detail and the way that he works and scans the room really made sure that, he is such a success. So he has his own architecture firm as well. It doesn't work with anyone else because he really believes I want to be in control of everything I do. And I really only want to design things that I'm fully 100% that I stand behind them because they're in line with how I want things to be. So he really wants to control things and he has the tendency to really take on excessive responsibility. And so when Jack first came to me for coaching, he was really frustrated and he felt that he was always surrounded by incompetence. Why are people so incompetent all the time? He asked me. And so the fact that he didn't only have it at this one project that he was currently working at, but it was a feeling that he almost had in every project, I knew Jack has something to do with it because otherwise he wouldn't come back into the same patterns time and time again. So Jack at that point in time couldn't really understand why others weren't really meeting his standards and was also really angry at them because it meant that he had to work more and harder. But so as we delved a bit deeper into Jack's subconsciousness, we really uncovered this very common pattern that ambitious people have. So with his keen eye for detail, he would spot every error in the project. Because he subconsciously really mistrusted others, he would instantly take on that responsibility because he couldn't believe how he could see so many errors and no one else would. So how could he trust that if he wasn't sharp at 150% every meeting, that there wouldn't be any errors? He just couldn't trust the others. So he took the responsibility to always be very laser-sharp focused and to always find the solutions for everything that went wrong. So he would step in for the stability engineer, the engineer that was responsible for the technical aspects of the buildings, the contractors, the safety coordinator, like everyone. He used to check for all the errors in everyone's field and come up with solutions himself while feeling very, very frustrated. And he made other people feel that frustration. He really made other people feel that they were inadequate and that if it weren't for him, things would fall apart. And the result was that both Jack was overwhelmed and his team was fully, it was not really his team, but the team that he was working with was fully disempowered. I mean, what would you do? I think you would also stop thinking critically because if you know that a person like Jack will come in, take over, let you feel like you're stupid because you didn't see what he's seeing, you just stop doing anything. Jack was clipping their wings and preventing them from growing because the other people knew he's gonna anyways tell us what to do or he will do it himself. And this is such a common story. You see a problem, you're super intelligent, so your intelligence and your impatience, they kick in and you take over. And you assume that others are incompetent because they don't instantly see the solutions the way that you do. However, this creates a lose-lose situation because you become overloaded and others have no room to develop. So, how do you recognize that you're taking too much responsibility? Well, that frustration that Jack felt all the time is a key indicator. Are you constantly frustrated or annoyed with others for not doing their jobs? Are you really often working late, fixing other people's issues? Do you always keep thinking about everything that still needs to be done, even though it's not necessarily your task? These are all signs. Is it for you difficult to make a distinction between what is really important, what is really priority versus what's just a nice to have? People that take too much responsibility see responsibility and see tasks that need to be taken up their shoulders everywhere. And so the consequences of taking too much responsibility are really significant. And there's this one metaphor that I commonly use in my coaching practice when I have someone in front of me that takes too much responsibility. And it's this one. It's imagine that you're a strong bird and you're flying around spotting everything that needs to be done. And you have this really good eye to see it, but you also have the strength to carry it all, so you do. But others on your team are slower or less experienced or less quick-witted than you are. Maybe they're more intuitive rather than this very logical way of thinking. And so because you're impatient and you're ambitious and you want to get things done, you invite these people to hop on your back because you believe if I just take them with me, if I just do it, we'll reach the destination faster. However, by constantly carrying others, you weaken them. They become dependent. And you become overloaded. It impacts your focus because you're not just focusing on what you should be doing. So it means you're wasting a lot of energy on what you should be doing. Probably the quality that you put out there is not what it could be. And you have so much frustrations. But this is really a vicious cycle where you're making it the way that other people remain underdeveloped. So the problem becomes bigger and bigger over time. So in Jack's case, people will always just call him when there's a problem. He was telling me, when I sit at my desk and I'm just doing the work that I should be doing, everyone calls me. The contractor calls me with a question that should be for the engineer that's responsible for the stability. But why do they call me? Because they know I'm here in front of my computer. I will pick up the phone. I will give answers. And so I asked him, why continue? You are driving that cycle. You are making sure that they become dependent of you because you keep giving the answers. You keep picking up. You keep doing the work that's not supposed to be your work. So take responsibility for your part rather than always picking on these people and always complaining about why they aren't doing what they are supposed to be doing. Stop doing what they're supposed to be doing. Leave the room and space for them to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so this is what he experimented with. He really became clear, okay, what's my role? What's the other person's role? But one thing that also happened in our coaching sessions was that he became very defensive because he said, I'm the end responsible for these buildings. What happens if something goes wrong, if there are mistakes? There's a liability, and I'm the end responsible. But here's the thinking error that he made. Jack believed if I'm responsible, I'm the one who should fix the problem when there is a problem. And we changed that script to this one. I'm the end responsible, so I need to make sure that all the errors are fixed. Though it doesn't mean that I have to fix all these issues. I have to make sure that the people that need to fix these errors, that are responsible for these errors, know that they need to fix them and are being held accountable to fix them. So now, when the contractor calls Jack to ask him questions about the plans, about things that are meant for the safety coordinator, Jack pushes back. And he doesn't push back by not picking up the phone because he said, that's not me. I pick up the phone. I want to be available because if there's something that I need to solve, I want to be there. So he picks up the phone, but rather than just giving the answers, even though he has them at 1 or 2 clicks, he reverts them to the right people. He says, this is a question for the safety coordinator. Have you tried calling him? And so he's still helpful, not by providing the answer, but by showing this contractor who to contact. At meetings, when something needs to be fixed, let's say the safety lighting, he just writes it down in the report. Safety coordinator, fix lighting. And next time he will follow up on it. But rather than already starting to look for all the solutions himself, he leaves it where it's supposed to be. And that's something you can learn too. Another example, Leah. Oh, love Leah. She's this driven entrepreneur. She's really a go-getter. You know, boss lady. And she created a company with a co-founder. And she was really the go-getter, the driver, the bullseye that really went to do business development, get the targets, a very logical KPI way of working. Whereas her co-founder was more intuitive, more an intuitive leadership style. So very different styles, very complementary. They got along very well, but something went off in their dynamics because Leah, she loves to be in control and she likes to take over control. And so basically she took over almost every aspect of the business because she wanted it to grow as fast as possible and she had a very clear mind on how to grow it as fast as possible. So what did she do? She was always directing the other co-founder, micromanaging his every move. So really saying, okay, you need to do this and you need to do that, and telling her co-founder how to do things, when to do things, calling him 2-3 times a day to ask him, did you already do it? Did you already do it? Being quite aggressive towards him of, okay, what did you do all day? If she didn't fully understand what he did. So really, Leah was putting a lot of her effort for the sake of the growth of the company, obviously, on directing the co-founder and being busy with actually what the co-founder should be doing. So she lost focus on her primary role, which was the business development. And so her co-founder really lost confidence and stopped thinking all along. I mean, of course, he kept thinking because he's an intelligent guy. However, he didn't fully was himself anymore in his role. And so Leah realized this pattern. And she also realized that it even extended in her personal life, where she was clipping the wings of her husband all the time by taking things over, telling her husband how to do things, what to do. And so Leah really understood, why do I control so much? Why do I want to have my fingers in everyone's plate? And so in our coachings, we realized that she stopped trusting other people. She didn't trust them. And because she didn't trust them, she had to control and check and double check everything. And because she was so intelligent and she had learned to work her way up there, she believed that she knew how how things were done. She had this one vision on how people could be successful and how to do it. And if all the other strategies of becoming successful, if they weren't in line with her way of doing things and her controlling way of doing things, it was wrong, or it was incompetent, or it was not efficient or effective enough. And so in that sense, she saw how everyone else was doing the wrong thing, because her vision of the right thing was quite narrow. And so through coaching, Leah really learned to trust others and to delegate more effectively, and to make it more clear to her co-founder what was important to her. Not the nitty-gritty on how things were done, but more on a higher level, on like the why it was important that this or this was done. And so it allowed her to really focus on her job. It made sure that she could really boost that business development and empower her co-founder to step up in his role of the visionary. And so if you recognize one or two or three things of Leah's story or Jack's story or any other thing that I said today, it's very likely that you take up too much responsibility and that you're clipping other people's wings. So how can you change that? How can you create other strategies that still feel that they're you? Because if it doesn't feel like something you want to do, or if it doesn't feel like safe to let go a bit of these control mechanisms, you will never do it. So in finding a solution, always make sure that you still feel you when you're doing it. So one thing that you can do is this one. And if you have pen and paper with you, it's amazing. Otherwise, take your phone and write down this sentence. Do I have to do this? This sentence is a very powerful one when you tend to take too much responsibilities. So let's unpack this sentence, because it's not just one sentence. It's actually a couple of questions blended into one sentence. So first, do I have to do this? Or can I say it? Or can I maybe write it down? Do I have to do it? Or can someone else maybe do it? Can I delegate it? Do I have to do it? Or is it something that I want? There's a big difference between doing something because you think you have to do it rather than because you want to do it. If you really want to do it, there will be much more energy. Do I have to do it? Or can I focus my attention on something else? And so, do I have to do it? Every word in this sentence can create more options, more opportunities for you to choose something else, to choose a different strategy than the one that you're choosing today. So write this sentence down, have it in your wallet, have it on your phone. And every time that you catch yourself taking too much responsibility, clipping other people's wings, ask yourself this question in 5 different ways. Do I have to do it? Secondly, look at your misconceptions. What do you think about not taking responsibility? And is it helping you? Because taking less responsibility does not equal being passive. A lot of people think, yeah, but if I don't do it, it won't be done. If I don't do it, people will think it's not important enough. No, that's not true. Taking less responsibility is allowing for other people to step up and take their role. Secondly, delegating does not mean letting go of control fully. So I have this client, Jim, and Jim also loves control. Obviously, because if you like to take too much responsibility, or if you just take too much responsibility, you very likely need or want a lot of control. And so Jim has a lot of work. And when we went over all the things that he had to do, according to himself, we noticed that there were a couple of things in there that actually would easily be outsourceable to a personal assistant. So when we looked into it, for example, his finances, paying the bills, etc., or go grocery shopping, etc., he really thought, no, I can't let go of control. Imagine, it's my finances. It's important that I have control. But delegating does not mean you have to let go of your control fully. You have to define, what do I need to know? What's important? What are the control checkpoints that are necessary for me to know if it's done properly? Because if that's clear for you, if that's clear for the other person, you can let them do everything else, doing the payments, checking if there's no invoices to be paid, etc., checking everything is paid of the invoices that you send out. This is all work that can be done by someone else, but you can still have the control by having regular meetings with this person, with your personal assistant, by making sure that there's checkpoints in which you know that it's done properly. So delegating does not mean letting go of control fully. So understand which misconceptions that you maybe still have about taking too much responsibility and why maybe it's possible or not possible for you. And then thirdly, if you want to take more steps towards letting go of control a little bit more, gain clarity. Gain clarity about your own responsibilities. What should you be focusing on? Compare it with what you're actually spending time on. Is it aligned? Identify all the discrepancies and learn from them. Are you maybe taking on tasks that belong to someone else? Where are you clipping other people's wings? Where are you taking too much burden on your shoulders? So identify your own responsibilities. Secondly, identify your core goals. What is important to you? What's the why behind what you're doing today? So, for example, if your goal is to be healthy and energized, don't get fixated on this rigid routine at the gym. See what alternative options are there to have this healthy and energized body or lifestyle. And so what's the goal? What's the higher why? And what alternatives in your behavior or in someone else's behavior are possible to achieve that goal? And so if you focus on these 3 tips, do I have to do it? What are misconceptions about taking too much responsibilities? And creating the clarity on your responsibilities and goals, if you can do that, letting go might become just a little bit more easy. Because letting go of responsibility does not mean sacrificing quality. It means allowing yourself, allowing others, allowing things to unfold differently, trusting others, and focusing on the goals that you want to achieve, focusing on your own strengths. And so Jack and Leah and countless others have overcome this self-sabotaging behavior. And even though they don't do it anymore, they can still achieve remarkable results. What's more, they can achieve even better results because they're not wasting time on things that drain their energy, that are not focused. They're focusing on the things that matter, and they allow people around them to do the same. And you can do this too. So, do you know someone who next to you is also taking too much responsibility? Share this video with them. And subscribe to this channel for more insights on really living your full potential. Because together, we can wake up ambitious people like you and dare them to be great. See you in the next video. Ciao.